Stephen Pifer joins me live from the Brookings Institution here in Washington, D.C. He's a former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. Stephen, thanks for joining us. You know, MH17 seems to have only polarized the positions in Ukraine. Is there any way that we could see a de-escalation of tensions at this point?
Well, this has been one of the unfortunate things that you've seen over the last, not just the tragedy of the Malaysian Airlines downing, but you've seen the Ukrainian military really over the course of the last month has made significant progress in pushing back the separatists and their Russian proxies. And that seems to have caused a decision in Moscow to increase the flow of weapons from Russia into Ukraine, providing heavy weapons to the separatists. And also, as the State Department said yesterday, some evidence of Russian forces firing on Ukrainian forces across the border.
And despite all of that, you know, we still have this investigation still trying to take place over this crash site with pieces and other things still there. And it appears Malaysia has worked something out with the rebels on the ground to have some sort of international police force to guard the site. But is there any way that the Ukrainians can pull back and allow that to happen as well?
Well, I think one of the problems that you now have, and one of the unfortunate things for the teams that would like to get access to the crash site, is that it appears to be in an area that's very close to ongoing military operations. And obviously you don't want to have a lot of people go into an area where they might get caught between the Ukrainian army on one side and the separatists on the other. So that makes getting access to the crash site very difficult.
What do you make of the timing of last week's resignation of Ukrainian Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk? How do you feel it complicates what's happening, if at all?
Well, I think that remains to be seen. There are a couple theories. One is that the Prime Minister was frustrated that some of the laws that he would like to get forward, get moved through the legislature had not yet been passed. But then there's a second theory which says this is a way to clear the way for early elections to the parliament. And that actually, I think, would be a good thing for Ukraine. On May 25, Ukrainians had the opportunity to go to the polls and vote to a president. Mr. Poroshenko was elected with a strong democratic mandate. And even though this parliament's only been in power for about 2 years now, I think an early election would revalidate the democratic legitimacy of the parliament and would be a good thing.
There has been talk of more sanctions by the EU on Russia. So what do you expect out of Tuesday's EU meeting in Brussels?
It's hard to make projections. I mean, there have been a number of meetings by the European Union where people have expected sanctions, and what they've been told as well, there's going to be another meeting. But it does seem to be that in European capitals and in Brussels, you now have a discussion going on looking at major sanctions that would look at major Russian entities. And that might have an impact. Up until now, I think Mr. Putin's probably making the calculation that the sort of damage that's being done to the Russian economy is something he can live with. But I think he is concerned that by an escalation of sanctions, that it might do more damage, and that hopefully would cause him to alter his course with regards to Ukraine.
All right, Stephen Pifer from the Brookings Institution, thank you so much for joining us.